In this striking image, a turtle rests on a sandy surface, its shell painfully distorted. A plastic 6-ring pack holder is wrapped tightly across its body. Once small enough to slip through the openings, the turtle grew larger while the plastic remained the same size. Over many years, the plastic forced the shell to warp inward, creating a permanent deformity that this animal will carry for life. The plastic seen here is a 6-pack ring carrier made from a material called LDPE. This stands for low-density polyethylene. LDPE is soft, flexible, and extremely durable in water, which is why it is commonly used for beverage packaging. It is also one of the most persistent plastics in the environment and can drift in oceans for decades without breaking down. Many companies in the United States still use LDPE 6-pack rings or similar LDPE packaging. This includes large beverage brands that sell canned or bottled drinks such as beer, soda, sparkling water, energy drinks, and some juices. Brands commonly linked with LDPE 6-pack rings include major beer companies and soft drink distributors that package their beverages in multi-can sets. Scientists warn that LDPE in marine environments poses a major threat to wildlife. Animals can become trapped as hatchlings and then grow around the plastic. The result is lifelong injury, restricted movement, and in many cases, death. Coastal surveys show these rings frequently wash ashore or drift in near-shore waters where young turtles, seabirds, and fish encounter them. This turtle stands as a powerful reminder of how a single lightweight piece of plastic can shape an entire life. It is a silent story shared by many animals across the world as they navigate an environment that is increasingly shaped by human waste. In this heartbreaking image, a lone koala sits in a vast field of shredded earth. Only hours before, this land was covered by eucalyptus trees. The forest that once sheltered and fed this gentle animal has been cut down, leaving nothing but bare soil and scattered wood chips. The koala appears confused and displaced, sitting where its tree once stood, surrounded by the silence of a vanished home. This scene is the result of large-scale deforestation. Koalas rely on eucalyptus forests not just for food, but for every part of their lives. When these forests are cleared, the animals often remain in the area unaware that their habitat has been destroyed. Many are injured or killed by machinery, dogs, vehicles, or starvation when suitable trees are no longer available. Industries linked to deforestation in Australia include companies involved in native forest logging, plantation timber, paper manufacturing, agriculture, and land clearing for grazing. In Australia, several major forestry operations manage or process eucalyptus and hardwood resources. This includes state-run forestry agencies such as Vic Forests in Victoria and Forestry Corporation of New South Wales, which have been involved in native forest harvesting for many years. Large paper and pulp manufacturers, such as Australian Paper, operate mills that rely on wood sourced within the country. Australia also has major plantation growers that supply timber for construction, packaging, and export markets. The cattle and sheep grazing industries contribute to land clearing as well, especially in Queensland, where broad-scale clearing has been historically documented by environmental monitoring programs. These activities are part of long-established economic sectors in Australia. They reflect policies, demand for wood products, and the ongoing transition from native forest logging toward plantation-based production. Conservation groups often call attention to how these industries affect koala habitat, particularly in regions where eucalyptus forests are fragmented or removed. Australia show that large portions of eucalyptus forests have already been removed or fragmented, reducing the animal's ability to find food and mates. Conservationists estimate that without stronger protection measures, some koala populations may continue to decline. This solitary koala reminds us that behind every cleared forest is a living being forced to survive without the home it once knew. It stands as a symbol of the fragile connection between wildlife and the landscapes they depend on. In this tragic image, a group of African penguins stands on a rocky shoreline, their feathers stained with dark patches of oil. Their once sleek, waterproof plumage is now heavy and matted. Some bow their heads as if exhausted, while others attempt to preen, unable to clean themselves. These birds have been caught in the aftermath of an oil spill, an invisible threat drifting silently across the surface of the sea. When oil coats a penguin's feathers, it destroys the natural insulation that protects them from the cold ocean. Water seeps through the damaged plumage, lowering body temperature and leaving the bird vulnerable to hypothermia. As the penguin tries to clean itself, it often ingests the toxic oil which harms its internal organs and reduces its ability to hunt. Entire colonies can be affected when a spill occurs near breeding sites or feeding routes. The industries associated with oil spills include offshore drilling, shipping, marine transport, and fuel distribution. In regions where African penguins live, the waters around South Africa are busy marine highways for large vessels. Tankers, cargo ships, and fuel transportation companies regularly travel these routes. Several international shipping lines operate along this coast, along with oil companies that extract and process crude oil offshore. While accidents are rare compared to the number of ships that pass each year, a single spill can have devastating consequences for wildlife. Scientific studies show that African penguin populations have declined sharply over the past century. Oil spills are one of the major threats these birds face, along with overfishing and habitat loss. Conservation organizations in South Africa have carried out remarkable rescue operations, cleaning thousands of oiled penguins by hand. Research confirms that rapid intervention increases survival rates dramatically, yet prevention remains the most effective protection. These penguins, standing together in their stained coats, remind us of the fragile relationship between ocean wildlife and the industries that share their waters. Their survival depends on our willingness to safeguard the seas they call home. In this painful image, a California sea lion lifts its head toward the light. Around its neck is a deep and swollen wound caused by a tight loop of plastic line that has cut through its skin. The animal's smooth fur is broken by the harsh imprint of something it was never meant to encounter. Even as it stands among other sea lions, this one carries the unmistakable mark of entanglement, a silent struggle against a material it cannot remove. The plastic around its neck appears to be a synthetic fishing line or monofilament loop. This type of line is incredibly strong, thin, and resistant to breaking. It is commonly used in commercial fishing gear, recreational angling supplies, and crab trap lines along the Pacific coast. These lines can easily slip around a young sea lion when it is small. As the animal grows, the line tightens and slowly cuts deeper into the flesh. Several industries make use of monofilament and synthetic fishing gear. In the United States, commercial fisheries, sport fishing suppliers, and producers of crab pot and lobster trap lines all rely on this material. Recreational fishing products sold by major outdoor brands often include monofilament spools. The same type of line is widely used in gill nets, long lines, and buoy ropes that are lost or discarded at sea. Once adrift, these lines remain in the environment for many years. California Fish and Game Code, sections 5650 and 5652, make it illegal to dump or abandon any plastic, including monofilament fishing line, into state waters because it harms fish, birds, and marine mammals. These laws also prohibit discharging any substance that pollutes or damages aquatic habitats. Scientists have documented entanglement as a major cause of injury and death among California sea lions. Studies from rescue centers along the West Coast show hundreds of incidents each year involving fishing lines, packing straps, and other plastic loops. Young animals are especially vulnerable because they explore floating debris while playing. Once trapped, they are unable to bite through the line or remove it with their flippers. Without human intervention, many eventually weaken from infection or starvation. This sea lion stands as a powerful reminder of the dangers drifting plastic presents to marine life. A single loop of fishing line can become a lifelong burden for an animal that depends on the ocean for survival. It shows how even small pieces of debris can create suffering in the vastness of the sea. In this heartbreaking image, a cow stands in the middle of a sprawling landfill, surrounded by a sea of discarded plastic. A transparent bag hangs from its mouth as it searches for food among the waste. The animal is not grazing on grass, but on the remains of human consumption. Birds perch on its back, while mountains of plastic stretch into the distance, showing a landscape completely reshaped by our throwaway habits. The plastics visible here include single-use bags, food wrappers, sachets, pouches, and brightly colored packets. Many of these items fall into a category known as multi-layered packaging. This type of packaging is made from thin layers of plastic and aluminum fused together. It is lightweight, strong, and airtight, but almost impossible to recycle. When thrown away, it often ends up in open dumps where animals like cows, dogs, and goats mistakenly eat it. Once swallowed, the plastic accumulates in the stomach and can cause blockages, infections, and starvation. Several industries rely heavily on multi-layered packaging. Food and snack manufacturers, instant noodle brands, confectionery companies, and makers of chips and biscuits use it to keep products crisp and shelf-stable. Shampoo and detergent brands use it for small sachets. Tea, coffee, spices, ready-to-cook meals, and many household items are sold in this flexible material. Its low cost has made it common across many fast-moving consumer goods industries, especially in regions where single-use sachets are popular. Reports from India have highlighted that regulations to curb plastic use have often exempted multi-layered packaging, despite its low recyclability. Waste surveys show large amounts of MLP waste in landfills and on city streets. Cows in urban areas frequently wander into open dumps and ingest this plastic while searching for food. Veterinarians have removed kilograms of wrappers from the stomachs of cattle, and studies warn that plastic ingestion is one of the leading causes of illness in stray and free-roaming cattle. This cow stands as a symbol of how the most vulnerable living beings bear the cost of our packaging choices. It shows how convenience for humans can become suffering for animals that live among our discarded waste. In this haunting image, a tiny seahorse floats delicately in the open water, its tail wrapped tightly around a discarded cotton swab. The creature drifts without understanding that what it clings to is not seagrass or a piece of floating plant matter, but a man-made object carried by the currents. Surrounded by the vast blue of the ocean, this small seahorse reveals how even the most remote places are touched by human waste. The item in the photo is a plastic stem cotton swab, commonly made from polypropylene. Many countries around the world have already banned plastic cotton swabs, including Canada, the United Kingdom, India, Australia, South Korea, Tanzania, and more. Yet the United States continues to allow their production and sale, even as these small items are regularly found in coastal surveys and ocean cleanup efforts. Cotton swabs slip easily through wastewater filtration systems when they are flushed or washed down household drains. Their size and buoyancy allow them to travel far across the sea, where they drift among plankton and floating vegetation. Many personal care brands, hotels, and retail chains rely on similar plastic stem swabs for makeup removal and hygiene products, and their lightweight means they can move through the environment for years. Scientists have documented cotton swabs and other small plastics as a major contributor to microplastic pollution. Seahorses often cling to drifting objects as they move with the currents, a natural behavior that becomes dangerous when the ocean is filled with debris. Studies show that plastic fragments now appear throughout marine habitats, from shallow coral reefs to the deep sea. This simple image captures a profound truth. Even the smallest objects we discard can travel across the planet and enter the lives of animals that have no understanding of our products or our waste. The seahorse, delicate and ancient, becomes an unwilling passenger on the tide of plastic that now circles the world. In this powerful image, a sea turtle glides through the blue waters of the ocean with a plastic bag caught in its mouth. The light from above filters through the surface, illuminating a creature that has swum these seas for more than 100 million years. The turtle spreads its flippers gracefully, unaware that the drifting object before it is not a jellyfish or a natural part of its world, but a piece of human waste carried by the currents. The plastic in the turtle's mouth is a thin single-use shopping bag, most commonly made from high-density polyethylene. This material is light, flexible, and incredibly durable. Because it floats, it easily travels long distances once it enters rivers and coastal waters. In the open ocean, these bags often mimic the shape and movement of jellyfish, one of the sea turtle's natural prey items. Many industries and retail chains use polyethylene shopping bags. Grocery stores, supermarkets, convenience stores, pharmacies, clothing retailers, and takeaway food outlets distribute millions of them each year. Some major brands in the United States produce or supply similar bags for packaging and retail use. These include large national grocery chains and manufacturers that supply bulk plastic bags to stores, restaurants, and warehouses. Despite increasing awareness, single-use bags remain one of the most common plastic items found during coastal cleanups. Scientists warn that sea turtles are especially vulnerable to plastic bags because their feeding behavior relies on visual cues. Studies have shown that turtles cannot easily distinguish between plastic bags and jellyfish, leading them to ingest floating bags by mistake. Once swallowed, the plastic can block the digestive tract or cause internal injuries. Research from marine biology centers confirms that ingested plastic is a major cause of illness and death in several turtle species worldwide. This turtle, ancient and gentle, represents the many marine animals that encounter plastic each day as they navigate their ocean home. A single lightweight bag, created for the convenience of a moment, can travel the seas for decades and threaten creatures that have lived on this planet since the age of dinosaurs. In this unsettling image, 3 polar bears roam through a landscape that should never belong to them. Instead of snow and ice, they move across a sprawling dump site filled with cans, food wrappers, plastic containers, and broken wooden crates. Their white fur contrasts sharply with the colors of human waste scattered across the frozen ground. These bears are not hunting seals on sea ice. They are scavenging through trash to survive. The waste surrounding them includes aluminum cans, single-use food packaging, plastic containers, multi-layered wrappers, and discarded household items. Much of this material comes from consumer goods that rely on flexible plastics, metals, and composite packaging. These items are produced in enormous quantities by the food industry, beverage companies, personal care brands, and retail chains that supply packaged foods, snacks, ready meals, and household products. Their purpose is not to cause harm, yet when they accumulate in open dumping sites, poor waste management in remote regions turns these everyday materials into serious threats for wildlife. Scientists warn that polar bears are increasingly forced to seek food on land as the Arctic sea ice melts earlier and forms later each year. Their natural hunting season is shrinking, leaving them with fewer opportunities to catch seals. When sea ice disappears, bears often wander into towns and villages in search of food, where open garbage sites become a last resort. Studies of bears in northern Russia, Canada, and Alaska show that reliance on human waste is rising, bringing higher risks of poisoning, plastic ingestion, human conflict, and malnutrition. These bears, ancient symbols of the Arctic wilderness, lie among our discarded packaging as a stark reminder of how climate change and pollution reach even the most remote corners of the planet. A creature built for ice and silence now survives in a world shaped by human waste and warming seas.